South Korea.
South Korea.
South Korea.
South Korea.
If we zoom in on the map of this country, it immediately becomes clear that it is one of the most densely populated places on Earth. Just look at the roads on this map. Nearly all of this country's usable land has been highly developed, and so it's not really a big surprise that most people alive today know Korea thanks to its big cities, futuristic technologies, and well, also the pop culture. K-pop rules! Sorry, I'm clearly not an expert on the modern culture. Yet, there is also a side to this country that the majority of people never knew existed. A unique part of Korea that has managed to stay hidden from the rest of the world. And what I'm referring to here are the small rural villages that nobody really notices between the bigger cities. It sort of feels like you're walking in a fairy tale. They are beautiful sanctuaries of heritage and culture, 12 to 14 centuries old. A dream travel destination for every curious visitor. However, what we did not expect to discover on our journey was that right now might be the last chance to see such places. Because if Korea continues on a path that they're currently on, then in just few years, most of such villages, together with hundreds of years of skills and traditions, will simply go extinct and will be lost for us forever. But for all of this to make sense, let's start this video from the very beginning. Hello from Korea, my friends. Today our plan is quite simple, or simple on paper, because our plan is to visit the part of this country where almost no visitor ever goes. And what makes it so hard is that the place we're going to doesn't speak English, doesn't see any tourists, and is pretty much in the middle of nowhere. And therefore we made our way to the nearest train station.
So the first mission is to get the speed train or the bullet train to a nearby city called Gyeongju, and there we're gonna have to take a bus and then I think another bus. We're gonna see.
To our surprise, the journey itself wasn't as long as we expected. We started with a short ride on a bullet train. Oh wow, I can't believe how much distance a train can cover in just 20 minutes. But of course the place where we are going doesn't have bullet train stations. And once there, a local bus picked us up. Straight away, looking out of the bus window, we noticed the change of scenery compared to the bigger cities. This is Soak village. Yeah, let's go and find our traditional home. Oh yeah, I probably should have told you that even finding this village was quite a challenge. You see, we had a dream to spend at least one night in a traditional Korean-style house. And after hours of searching through the internet, this place here had the exact thing we were looking for. But more about this later, because as we arrived in a village, something incredible happened. It sort of feels like you're walking in a fairy tale. Like they've kept true to the historic architecture here. And it's very beautiful. This tiny little settlement took us by total surprise. Its greenery and calm atmosphere was like nothing we had seen in Korea before.
And it's way more authentic than the ones that we saw in Seoul, which were so fully packed with tourists that there was basically no room to even walk. So this building style is from the 14th century and they're trying to keep it the way it used to be. Of course there's a lot of like modern materials that's been used, but it looked pretty cool. But here, nobody.
However, besides its obvious beauty and charm, small gardens, fields, the mountains in the background, it's absolutely stunning. There was one other thing we noticed, and it was the total lack of other people. It was quite unlike any other village we had seen through our years of traveling the world. There was no sound of children playing, and not even the chatter of friendly neighbors. Weird silence that was only broken by the sound of cicadas. On the route from the bus station to our guest house, we literally just saw one car. And even this one almost seemed like it was hiding something and had its windows totally blacked out. Yet before we could make sense of all of that secrecy, a surprising distraction appeared. The whole property is just super gorgeous. Yes, for the next 24 hours, this was our home. It's quite interesting how we ended up booking a place that's around 500 years old. Our so-called hotel used to be a study hall for a famous Korean scholar, Hwang Yeong. During the day, people can actually walk through the garden and see the historic houses, and at night, this here is our home. But as we were soon to find out, this here was only a small surprise compared to the other secrets hidden in this village. So traditional Korean houses, they're called hanoks, and they're like a long building with many doors on one side, and those doors usually lead into an empty room. Our hanok, of course, was modernized so that it could be used as a proper hotel room.
This is like a living room part. There's like books and stuff. There's a huge TV. There's always a fridge. In Korea, even like the cheapest hotels we've been to, they all have fridges.
The room was full of light and smelled like wood, but at the same time, it kept its unique historic style. And of course, the thing you need to remember is that in the traditional houses, the walls are not very thick. They're actually made out of paper. Now Liisu is gonna show us how do you make a traditional Korean bed.
This looks like that goes to the bottom.
The traditional bed consists of a relatively thin mattress and few blankets, which are folded together each morning to create more living space. And the pillow as well, it's quite unusual. It's like made out of some sort of a grain or grain husks. Of course, if you come from a tall country, then you should always remember that there might be small complications. And although Korea is the tallest Asian nation, then still, sometimes I really wonder if Liisu has one of those bags that Hermione has in the Harry Potter series. And yes, it absolutely is the first time when we book $100 accommodation and we're gonna bring out our own air mattress. I can tell by the way you look at me. Well, and after adding a modern touch to our historic room,
You look comfy.
alrighty, and now that we've settled into our new home, these doors are small. Let's go ahead and start discovering the life in this small Korean village. Since it was still early, we started by climbing a small mountain next to the village. The houses and roads stayed behind, and in less than 5 minutes, we were surrounded by wild nature. It sort of feels that the most dangerous animal in Korea is wild boar. There's a lot of signs telling you how you should behave when you see one. Don't say a word. Don't piss it off. You do like this, and just back away. Like when your girlfriend is angry.
Didn't see the bull.
The forest around us was loud and luscious. A truly wonderful place for a hike. Yet on the top, another surprise was waiting. And no, I do not mean my high-tech shirt with water cooling features, but instead this ancient statue. They don't exactly know how old it is, but it's presumed 12 to 14 centuries old.
So there's a Buddha in the middle, and there's bodhisattvas on either of the sides. And bodhisattvas are the ones in Buddhism that have reached 99% enlightenment, but they're not gonna be the enlightened ones, so that they could teach others how to become enlightened. So they're the ones that are sort of carrying on the word and teaching others about Buddhism and enlightenment.
This more than a millennia-old Buddha was for us the first indication that this small village was way less random than we initially thought. And as we made our way back down, we started to notice historic writings and small mounds popping out of the forest floor.
I think we've seen at least 20 bigger mounds and then at least the same amount of smaller mounds.
They were clearly man-made, but by who and when we could not tell. And therefore, after a quick wardrobe change, we headed back to the village. Oh, you didn't notice the change of clothes? That's because all my shirts are the same. All my shirts are... I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening today. This time around, we started noticing the smaller details about this community. There's a little pond over there and it's all covered in lotus flowers. It's super beautiful. What does it say about Korean food culture when 1/3 to like half of the field is red peppers? Each house that we passed had a small garden. Pumpkin, 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 full of veggies and tropical fruit. Pomegranate tree. This is a rambutan tree. They are not ready, but they are very good fruits. I'm just surprised how many things are grown everywhere. Every possible inch of land is used. Highway is right over there, but here we have some corn, green onions, and I think that's cucumber in the back. Ooh, there's something else here. And further down the road, large rice fields filled the landscapes almost as far as the eye could see. That was our rice dance. It is just very pretty and calm between the rice paddocks. In most parts of the world, it would be considered prime real estate. You know, surrounded by nature and only about 30 minutes away from the closest city. However, after nearly 6 hours, we had barely seen a soul. Without many other options, we made our way to the best known landmark of this settlement. Ancient tombs of the Seoak Dong village. And right here, the answers to our many questions started to finally appear. A very unique and quite unusual feature that you can see all over the Seoak village that we're in are those green little hills. You probably understand that they don't occur naturally. There's not like a giant mole in the ground who makes them, but they're human-made. Nearly 2,000 years old. And they're actually tombs. This area was ancient kingdom of Silla, and ancient kings and their family members are all buried under those green mounds. Just like this, it became clear that this village was far from random. On the contrary, it used to be a center of an ancient, important kingdom. Do you believe that the first big one we saw over there belongs to the king? And the ones in the further back are a little bit smaller and belong to the family of the king. Maybe the wife, maybe sons, daughters. There was archaeological sites all around us, and the whole region played a huge role in the development of modern-day Korea. Silla Kingdom that used to be here was one of the 3 kingdoms that united and made like Korea a big and important country. However, after understanding its importance, it felt even weirder that there was no people. Even here, next to the landmark that is known nationwide, there was not a single soul. closed. On the main street, we at last managed to find two businesses that were open. One of them was a small store run by an older gentleman.
11,600원.
Huh? Okay, this store really was small. They had cigarettes, beer, ice cream, of course dried squid and cookies. And the other, a restaurant managed by two grandmas. And yeah, so this place didn't even look like a restaurant. We really hope that it's not just like kind Korean lady who just let us in their home.
So I asked if we can get food here, or was this the restaurant? And she asked like this, and I said, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Ordering food without understanding a word of each other's language was one of the funniest things for both of us.
두 병.
Yeah.
네. What did you order?
I got no idea. I zero idea. I sort of love that like one corner of our eating hall is filled with penoplast boxes, and you can feel that it's an authentic place. Like nobody has tried hard to make it look good. It's just, this is how things are. They cook here, we come here to eat. But the end result, if some of you are wondering, it was heavenly. Oh my god, yes. This beef is so tender.
Extremely good meat.
I'm pretty sure that those recipes have been perfected and passed down through generations. Paprika, cucumber, some seaweed around it. Very tasty and fresh. I was just hoping we could eat something, but that's a feast. That's really a feast. Oh, wow, 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 wow.
This is like old lady.
Once we were done with dinner, we both agreed that this small village had been one of the most lovely places we had visited in Korea. 안녕하세요.
한국말 잘하세요? Korean speaker?
Koreano.
No, no.
감사합니다. 안녕하세요. That's it.
네.
Yet deep down, neither of us felt happy, because it didn't take us long to understand what was happening right before our eyes. I do have to admit that although we pretty much spent the day here, I haven't seen one young person in the whole village. Everybody has been over 60.
Maybe the young people have come to school or university or to have a job somewhere else, and they're not living the village life anymore.
This village was slowly going extinct. Yeah, this is true. Like, it's very beautiful here in the village, but pretty much what you can do here is have your own little garden and have beautiful walks. And what made it even worse was the fact that thanks to its historic importance, it was far from being a random place. We ended up in a place with so much historic and cultural importance. It had tourist attractions and probably brought in thousands of visitors each year. 감사합니다. But here's the thing. If this was happening in Seoak-dong, then is there even a chance for the hundreds of other small villages all around Korea that do not hold such cultural value? Because once the last people who live in those settlements pass away, we also lose the knowledge that has been passed down through centuries. We lose the skills and knowledge of the land, like farming. Every possible inch of land is used. We lose the delicious secret recipes that make us gasp in amazement. Oh my god, yes. But perhaps most importantly, together with those villages, we lose parts of ourselves. Because the stories that connect us to our ancestors are and will always be a huge part of who we are. Friends, you probably understand that a similar thing is happening all around the world, and not just Korea. We are losing small pockets of our culture. But to finish this video on a positive note, then I actually think it doesn't have to be so. We live during truly incredible times. A huge part of our population now is able to work remotely from our computers, and for the first time in thousands of years, we're seeing that the tables are turning and people are starting to move out of the cities to the countryside. We are finally starting to realize that the key to a healthy and happy life lies in balance. Balance between nature, balance between work. And as the last thing, I just truly hope that we find this balance. We find our way back to those places before we lose those connections to our own land and culture. Thank you for watching and take care. Bye.